Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Great Malabite.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Dr. Abati. Good morning, Mr. Oseni.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Tundu. Victoria M.Q. Abiola.
Good morning.
Yes, draped in a floral top.
Oh, thank you. For me, it's a Ming vase because they're worth a fortune. Can you buy me a Ming vase?
Well, I wouldn't
do you
mind.
Have, do you have $80 million?
I wouldn't mind doing that for you to do.
To get me a Ming vase.
Well, you know I would do anything for you.
No, you have $80 million.
I will look for it just because of Tundu. Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, after Ihiala, Soludo emerges Anambra governor-elect. I will never disappoint you, says winner. Total votes scored by frontline parties. APC, 43,285. ABGA, 112,229. PDP, 53,807. YPP, 21,261. Yes, Soludo, Charles Chukuma Soludo emerged as the winner, expectedly after the Ihiala votes yesterday, because by yesterday he had won 18 out of the 20 local government declared as at yesterday. So the Ihiala votes, well, Soludo was also the front runner. He won that local government, and fittingly, he has been declared the winner. Now, ABGA, the party of Anambra State. But you will say ABGA is a party of the Southeast. And I don't think they should have any apology for that. And if you recall, when Rochas Okorocha actually mounted the governor's saddle in Imo on ABGA platform before he ditched the party. So it tells you ABGA is strong in the East, perhaps with more transparency in the electoral process. We may just see ABGA taking over the Southeast. So other governors and other parties, beware. ABGA is ready. But what is the difference this time for Soludo? Clearly, he has always been a brilliant man. Always had the right CV. But this time, the difference is the platform. He tried before. I think on the platform of the PDP, he did not succeed. But this time, he navigated his way to the right party in Anambra State. And here he is, the next governor of Anambra State. How he will deal with the situation on ground. Brilliant man. International accomplishments, national accomplishment, but he has always remained the homeboy. They know from the village. In fact, he described himself as a village boy. And you can see that the people came out en masse this time to cast their vote for him. Yes, INEC will say kudos, but logistics, INEC has to find a way to deal with that. Because if you are dealing with logistics in a state like Anambra, that is not so big, that you don't have tough terrain like you have in some other states, yet INEC cannot get its officials to the polling unit on time. But all is well that ends well. Police, other security agencies, kudos. Yes, you have to bring President Muhammadu Buhari into the mix for also allowing one man, one vote to happen in Anambra, just like it happened in Edo State when Oshiomhole Adams was seeking a second term. He had to go and thank the president then, Goodluck Jonathan, for giving the state a level playing field for all contestants to get the votes of the people. And this time around, President Buhari, no federal might there to keep the peace and ensure that the people of Anambra were able to come out despite the insecurity in the days before. But of course, we cannot forget iPod in the mix, that on the eve of the election actually came out to say that, well, they are not against the election, people should go out and vote. How that was gotten from IPOB, whether the leaders, how the leaders got IPOB to make that kind of commitment remains to be seen. But the good thing was that IPOB also came out, because if they had not done that, perhaps many people will sit down in their homes because they want to avoid clashes with enforcers of IPOB sit at home. Anambra, now is the time to work for Soludo, but other parties will be licking their wounds. Peter Obi, PDP bigwig, did not deliver a state, but you will say that was also a very good showing by the PDP. So Peter Obi can take something to the table as he quests for the presidency, amongst other Igbo aspirants. Now, if we just look at the Guardian newspaper quickly, no, before the Guardian, let's look at the Punch newspaper. E-transmission of results, direct primaries, governors run to Buhari as senators, reps, defy parties, transmit bill next week. National Assembly members as smart governors pass Electoral Act amendment bill. Will veto bill if President Buhari fails to assent legislation, say federal lawmakers. Yes, yesterday the National Assembly, the Senate, passed the Electoral Amendment Bill with e-transmission of results very much in the mix, because that section, the relevant section, states INEC can deploy whatever technology they want in the conduct of elections. But the direct primaries seem to be a blow to the governors. But I don't think the governors should take it personal, because many of them will leave office, others will run. It's not about them. But if you ask me, I thought that option should have been left for the parties to decide, whether direct, indirect, or consensus. Now, if we look at the Daily Trust newspaper, resident decry rot in FCT, have reps summoned minister. Legislators frown at poor waste management, say Abuja terribly unsafe. Child Bello over non-appointment of mandate secretaries. Yes, if you don't need a prophet to tell you that Abuja is now unsafe in the light of, yes.
We need to take a short break, and then after the break, we'll come back to you so that the review of top stories in today's newspapers can continue. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Emmanuel Efene, the great Malabite, is still here with a review of top stories in today's newspapers around the world. Back to you, Emmanuel Efene.
Yes, Ruben, we were with Daily Trust newspaper, where the lead story, residents decry rot in FCT as reps summon minister. Legislators frown at poor waste management, say Abuja terribly unsafe. Child Bello over non-appointment of mandate secretary. Yes, if you don't need a prophet to tell you that Abuja has been having security challenge of recent, with kidnappers moving in and out of the University of Abuja, picking professors and students alike. So it's a major challenge, which not just the authorities of the FCT, but the federal government has to do something about. Now, if we look at the Guardian newspaper, yes, the lead story, Guardian, National Assembly snubs APC, governors passes electoral bill with direct primaries. In fact, that in itself, I've mentioned earlier, is a slap on the governors who have been angling for having the option of either direct or indirect primaries in the Electoral Amendment Bill. Will President Buhari sign? The governors are said to be running to the president to help their case. But the challenge, the National Assembly, they're ready to take up. If the president doesn't sign, they will override his veto and the law will stand as passed. So we just wait for the president. I hope that will be one of the first assignments he will deal with when he returns from his overseas trip. Now, if we look at other newspapers, the Daily Independent newspaper, Nigeria spends 31.2 billion naira yearly on coconut importation. What is it that we will not import in this country? Stakeholders say 32 coconut states can generate 1.92 trillion naira annually. So why are we not doing that? We are importing coconut. Coconut. Well, I just moved over to the Business Day newspaper. The Business Day, MTN Nigeria, Airtel PSBs to create 1 million direct jobs. Yes, following the granting of approval in principle by the Central Bank of Nigeria, MTN Nigeria and Airtel now have about 6 months to become licensed payment service banks, PSBs, apart from helping to include 40 million adults in Nigeria who are currently outside the financial services industry. The move could also create 1 million jobs. Wow. I hope they will do that very quickly. Of course, we know that the telcos over time, since the inception of GSM, have been doing a wonderful job in creating jobs for Nigerians. Now, let's look at the foreign newspapers quickly. I'll just look at the New York Times. Yes, Trump loses effort to keep papers secret. Yes, January 6th inquiry widens. A federal judge yesterday rejected the bid of former President Donald J. Trump to keep secret papers about his actions and conversations leading up to and during the January 6th attack on the Capitol by his supporters. So all papers will be part of the inquiry. No hiding place for former President Donald Trump. Also, in the front page of the New York Times, Moderna moves for total credit in vaccine patent. Yes, won't share with U.S. Dispute is over role of federal scientists in developing the shot. Yes, Moderna and the National Institute of Health in the U.S. are in a bitter dispute over who deserves credit for inventing the central component of the company's powerful coronavirus vaccine. A conflict, long-term distribution, and, of course, billions of dollars in future profit is at the center of this dispute. But the dispute grew out of this vaccine, according to the report, grew out of a 4-year collaboration between Moderna and the National Institute of Health. According to the report, 3 of the staff of the National Institute of Health were very instrumental in developing the genetic sequencing that led to the vaccine, the Moderna coronavirus vaccine. Controversy there, profit, part of the motive of that controversy. Ruben Rufai, Antundu, over to you.
Ifeni had commented earlier on the announcement of Professor Charles Soludo as governor-elect. So I do not want to repeat myself. In terms of the points I made about the performance of INEC, of the various agencies involved, and now overall, it looks like we've had a free and fair process in Anambra, and the people of Anambra have kept to a certain standard in terms of the profile of persons who since 1999 have ended up as winners of the elections in that state. Our only addition is that we expect that Governor Soludo, as he will soon become, would provide the necessary leadership. He will be a bridge builder, and he will realize that although he had been described as a governor before, that was governor of Central Bank. Being governor of Central Bank is different from being governor of a state. You know, there are so many complexities involved, and that's the first task that he has to address. But for me, in the papers today, the other story that I find interesting is the editorial of this day newspaper today on a new revenue allocation formula. You recall that before now, the Revenue Mobilization and Financial Regulation Agency had been holding public hearings across the country, trying to get feedback in terms of what the people want and other stakeholders at the subnational level want. And what is clear is that the federal government of Nigeria takes an unfair share of the revenue allocated under Section 162 of the Constitution, about 52.6%. State governments get just about 26%. Local councils get 20%, 20.6%. And the states and the local councils are the ones who are, at the level of service delivery closest to the people. So the RMAFC is now saying that it will look at the various inputs and, Nigerians will take a look at this. Of course, the proposals will be made to the presidency or to the executive arm of government at the federal level, and this will go to the National Assembly. And all of this, I think, is within the context of people saying, we have a center that is too big, a center that is bloated, and a center that is underperforming. Is it possible for us to strengthen the states and the local councils? But there are caveats, of course. Those states and local councils have to become productive. They have to be more accountable to the people. But in terms of the federal system itself, I think that there may be a need to take a second look at the revenue allocation formula, particularly at a time of financial challenges.
Well, I hope you're not talking of just taking only the finances. It's also tied to devolution of responsibilities over time. Yes. Brings us to that.
That's a constitutional matter.
Yes.
And people have been arguing against it. Can we take a second look at the exclusive list and see how the Constitution can be more relevant to the people, we the people, the proverbial we the people in the preamble of that Constitution.
One word, restructuring.
Yes.
That's just it. And I think this is the best way to start. And another conversation, anyway, that's in court, that's sub judice. I don't want to talk about the VAT matter.
Well,
anyway,
thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeni. Okay, I like calling you Mr. Ifeni.